Welcome to the Red V TV preview show, supported by A-Star Recruitment for the 2022 season, as we look ahead to this Sunday's round 15 clash against Hull Kingston Rovers at the Totally Wicked Stadium. Glad to say this evening that I am joined by the one and only Peter Elder. Good evening, Peter.
Good evening, Dave. Thanks for having me on Red V TV tonight. Always a pleasure. Looking forward to having a chat about the upcoming games and train travel, which will crop up this evening, or lack thereof.
Well, we have been deserted by Mr. Pender this evening. I believe he's put in a transfer request and he's joined the Red Robin podcast instead.
Oh, I thought you said he joined the championship. Was that too soon? Too soon for that? I don't know.
He's had some lovely comments. He's got a Hull fan club, a Hull KR fan club. I think the comment that he received was from Hull KR fan Dawn Kirby, who says she has watched the podcast and she has to say that Kev is one of the nicest guests. He knows his rugby and is respectful about the opposition, and he's a fantastic role model for Saints fans.
I would agree with that.
I wouldn't
want to blow smoke up his backside, but yes, obviously, Kev is an absolute diamond geezer, as they would say.
And I think this is where I want to say the Red Robin podcast, really good setup. A couple of die-hard fans who are running that, and it's really good. I think the importance of fan media probably hasn't been realised in rugby league yet. It has been in other sports. I think if you watch Sky Sports News now, quite frequently you'll see the fans who run fan websites being involved in the coverage. Rugby league may get there in about 20 years' time.
Very possibly, but I mean, even though I would say it myself, guys like yourselves, obviously the Hull KR podcast, dare I say even the Wigan one, they've all got valuable input to make. They've always got good opinions to give, and people who are the heart and soul of rugby league, their views need to be taken on board. They need to be given the platform to promote not just their own podcasts, their own clubs, but the game as a whole. It makes absolute sense. I always like talking to opposition fans, at Magic or at a general match, just to get their view on the game and that game in particular, or the sport as a whole. Because it's nice to kind of get other people's opinions out with your own kind of blinkered Red V Saints kind of train of thought all the time. Get what the other people think about this,
You sometimes see some of the comments saying, "Oh, Red V, they're biased." Yes,
well, yeah,
absolutely
obviously.
We are, because that is the point, and we would never say otherwise. But equally, we'll be pretty honest about our team's chances. We always try and keep it fairly down the line, and we enjoy listening to other fans' views as well. So fan media, I think, probably needs to be utilised a little bit more, or realised. I sometimes wonder whether there's a little bit of fear amongst some of the media who are a bit fearful that we're coming to try and take the jobs, when in reality we're hobbyists who do it because we support our team and have no ambitions to be anything else.
Well, of course. I mean, these guys are professionals. I mean, we're just, although some commentators get called fans with microphones, when we genuinely are, and we couldn't be trusted to go into Sky Sports, BBC, Premier Sport, whatever, and be impartial.
I don't know, Peter, because I had 6 or 7 years of doing Wish.
Yeah, but you weren't impartial. That's the point, isn't it?
Absolutely not. Local radio, you shouldn't be impartial. You should be
absolutely
have a Saints bias. But that is another conversation altogether, isn't it?
Absolutely. But no, this is a great forum for fans of all teams. Sometimes I like to scroll through the comments if non-Saints fans put on either the Facebook, Twitter, or the YouTube itself about either a preview show or an instant fan reaction. Some of them are quite amusing, some maybe less so, maybe a little bit more vitriolic depending on how the games went. But it's always nice to get constructive feedback, especially if from opposition fans, if they appreciate that we're trying to be, obviously we're biased, but if we can give considered views about the opposition and how they played and give them opposition credit where it's due, which I think is the right thing to do anyway.
Absolutely. Hull KR this Sunday then, back at the Totally Wicked Stadium. It's a month since our last home game, can you believe? It seems an awful long time since we were at home. Obviously, we had the enforced week off for the Challenge Cup before away games against Warrington and Toulouse. be good to get back on home turf.
Yeah, absolutely. Although obviously the problem with not so much the train strikes, but this is a Sunday afternoon game. That's when I would normally think, right, I'm getting down for this one. But there's zero trains. It's replacement buses. I would actually need to sort of like I would arrive kind of like after the game had finished and wouldn't get home until Monday, and not see a ball thrown or a ball kicked. So I've got no way of getting down on it because this would have been. It's a game I was targeting to come down, especially obviously the return of my fellow Scotsman Lachlan Coote, and a Sunday afternoon game at Saints. So disappointed not to be there, but good to have the team back at home. And one of the it's a tricky one. This normally you think Hull KR, they're a team you should see off convincingly, and certainly watching them at the semi-final against Huddersfield, they were pretty hopeless that day. I think even the most ardent KR fan would have to admit that. But one of these teams, if they throw it around and it sticks, they can really, really cause problems. And I think it could be one of those games on Sunday if we're not quite on it and if everything they try comes off. But you go into it thinking, we should have enough, but I'm not marking it up as a guaranteed easy victory by any stretch of the imagination.
Is it fair to say that despite Hull KR lying in 6th place, 7 wins from 14, their fans may be slightly disappointed about their league position? And is that a reflection just how far Hull KR have come?
I think so. I think a couple of good seasons and a good cup run, it raises expectation, which then again also kind of heightens the criticism if things don't go well. Certainly, as I recall, walking out of Elland Road after the semi-final, I think there was about 20 minutes in the second semi to go. There was a lot of Hull KR fans coming out, and there was a lot of people who were very, very angry at that point, 24-0 down.
I'm surprised you were still in the stadium that long, Peter.
Well, my train wasn't until later, so I thought I might as well watch a bit of the second semi-final, hoping for a bit of a tighter contest, but it wasn't to be. Huddersfield played really well that day. But, but on the day, you look at Hull KR last week, okay, Salford aren't perhaps a great team, but watching the highlights of their game against Salford last week, they scored some cracking tries. Lachlan Coote was in excellent form, a couple of tries, kicked his goals, a drop goal as well. Steve would have loved that one for sure. But, on their day, they can put together some lovely play and open any defence up. And I think that's why we have to be on our guard from the off, stop the offloads. If you stop the offloads against Hull KR, I think you pretty much stop Hull KR because they play off the back of that and they can cause a lot of problems. But, it's going to be a tricky game. I fully expect that. Ryan Hall was having a kind of Indian summer in his career. He's scoring a lot of tries. He's making a lot of meters. Lachlan Coote's playing well. They're missing a few players, obviously, that can get them some go forward and can be a point of difference in attack. But those two are the ones I think we need to watch out for in particular.
That said, the last 2 Super League away games, they have failed to score a point.
Yes.
The Leeds away at the end of April, where they lost 12-0, and I don't know, was that the game on the TV that made me question whether I actually liked rugby league?
I don't think that one was on the telly that night.
There's been a couple of games recently which made me question whether I like rugby league. And then obviously they lost after the Challenge Cup semi-final. They lost to Castleford 32-0, which is a shocking result, but maybe a little bit of a hangover from the Cup. But as you say, they've got back on the horse recently. They were in fine form against Salford in a 43-16 victory. And maybe that will have their tails up a little bit. And listen, they're going to come to Saints. They haven't won, I think, in any of the last 11 games against us. But their tails will be up and they'll give it a go.
Well, I think the last time, if I remember correctly, Hull KR won it, Saints, was back in 2013, a game I was actually at. So perhaps my absence this week's a good thing because I might have been, perhaps I've been a jinx. I remember I think it was June or July and it was a very wet, horrible evening and they won 24-12. Michael Dobson, I think, was kicking all their goals that night and including he kicked about 4 penalties, if I remember. It was just a poor Saints night. So they're maybe overdue a victory and they're overdue certainly to score some points on the road. But and they're coming in good form. But I still think that if Saints have got their match head on, we'll win the game with a little bit to spare. To be completely honest about it, but we shouldn't go in with that attitude to start with. We've got to go in and earn the right to win the match.
I tell you what, Mr. Elder, you should be known as Stato. You are correct.
Yes.
The Robins' last away victory against Saints was 24 points to 12 on the 28th of June, 2013.
There we are. You want me in your quiz team, don't you? That's what you're
Absolutely.
really saying here.
Saints have won 20, Hull KR 9, one draw between them in Super League. Highest score, 68-12 in Saints' favour, which was also the widest margin in 2010. Hull KR's highest score against us was 40 points to 10. Up in Hull in 2014. And I think those are the things to remember. Move on to the squads. Let's see what we've got. So only the two changes this week for Saints. Sione Matautia drops out of the squad after he received a 2-game ban for shoving someone in the back a nanosecond late in Toulouse. Louis McCarthy-Scarsburg drops out, and they are replaced in the 21-man squad by number 26, Sam Royal, and contractually obligated to say Redv.net's Danny Hill.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a very good squad. Obviously, missing Percy again. Any team would miss a player of that quality. There's absolutely no doubt about it. But
the rumour this evening, Peter, was obviously on the grapevine, is that Mark Percival may be out for a month or so with a knee injury.
Oh. Well, that would put a very, very different slant on things.
Only rumours, I hasten to add.
Only a rumour, yeah, but quite often a lot of these rumours have certain foundations and come from people who are in the know. But we'll wait on official confirmation, I suppose. But the good thing is, a month ago, we didn't have Will Hoppolati or Regan Grace to pick from. So having those guys fit and available and playing well by all accounts. Last week, Will Hoppolati, with a great try assist for Tommy's try, and Reeves with the intercept and, running like he'd never been away. And obviously Ben Davis has had lots of game time. I think he would slot in on Sunday and do an absolutely fine job.
Is that the obvious choice for you, Peter?
Yeah, I think so, because it's, if we were playing on Sunday and then playing again the following Friday, you might say, well, maybe want to rest one or two. But there's about 10 days, I think, between this game and the next game. So we can go full noise, apart from the absentees. Ben Davis with Conrad in the centre. I would certainly play Dan Norman off the bench instead of Louis, to be honest with you. That would be my team. No point changing it too much.
Yeah, and you get the impression that we'll want to go with that. Essentially, I know we're going to make the enforced change for Sione, but that settled back line and try and just build a little bit of momentum, because we haven't been great over the last month or two, and obviously given the injuries and not being able to put a settled side out. So you get the impression Christian Wolff will want to, on home turf, try and get those combinations going once again and put in a good performance in what should hopefully be a really good sunny family atmosphere at the Totally Wicked.
Well, let's hope so. I mean, it's I'm just looking beyond my iPad at the moment, and it's chucking it down. No one will be surprised to hear. No one will be surprised to hear that, given I'm in Scotland. But
can I just tell you, sunny St Helens has got perfect blue skies, lovely weather, trains that are still running.
Yeah.
Have you never considered packing that kilt away and coming and giving up beautiful Motherwell?
Yeah.
For somewhere in St Helens that begins with
M. Yeah. No stereotypes here, Dave. Well, it was nice and bright earlier on, but it's I think as Billy Connolly said a number of years ago, it's like, if you don't like weather in Scotland, just wait for 10 minutes. And that's what it seems to have been today. It's been kind of nice and bright, and then a bit of rain, but there we go. But not
Peter,
to worry.
Listen, you've got 5 months. If you sell up and get down here, we can even give you a white England shirt for the World Cup.
Yeah, well,
that's a low blow, isn't it?
Yeah, that is a low blow. Listen, to briefly mention that, a lot of people were talking about, we should just let Ukraine go through at the World Cup. It was right that the game was played on the field. They came to Hampden and they deserved the win. So I was glad that it was settled that way rather than them getting a sympathy vote. But there we go. So as it should be with sport, it should be decided on the pitch at all times. But there we are. So listen, what was the question? You've kind of diverted here with the weather chat. What did you ask me a minute ago? It was
settled back line.
Settled back line, yes, of course. Very professionally. Now I'm thinking, there's not been a lot of games recently, and I think that's the main problem. That we've had not a lot of games. Have been a bit kind of staccato. I'm going to have to move slightly here because rather embarrassingly, I'm running out of battery here, so I'm going to have to plug this in while I'm doing this.
That's why we lost it on the picture for a minute.
I think that's probably it. Am I back now?
You are. You're still there, yeah? We've got you.
Am I still here? Excellent stuff. I can't really don't want to disappoint my army of fans out there. But no, I think, we have to try and get a settled lineup, build some consistency of performance, consistency of selection. As I said, it's been a bit kind of staccato recently with, players injured, suspended, chopping and changing, weeks off here and there. Even after this week, we've got another, as I say, 10 days between the next game. And then during July, it's a busy schedule. So I think we should go as strong as possible. There's plenty of other opportunities later in the year to rest and to rotate. I think we want to build up momentum, perhaps with a 4-point lead at the top, try and get through the next few weeks, because into the first couple of weeks in July, obviously, we've got Catalan away, and then we've got Wigan at Magic. So it's almost, if you don't want to look too far ahead, you can get through the next, up to those games without dropping any points. Then after that, you can perhaps chop and change a little bit and give some youngsters another opportunity, rest your key men, like Robes, who I dare say we'll come on to talk about in a little more detail in a moment or two. Some of the forwards, Big Al, give them a week off, for example. But I think right now we need to build momentum, get points on the board, especially guys like Reeves, Wilwell, give them as much game time as they can get. But as you say, build the combinations, get the team flowing again. We've picked up results by and large without playing great, as you alluded to. But I think we need to certainly, get the results, pick the strongest team available, and then later on in the season we'll have opportunities to kind of chop and change.
Okay, we'll move on to the Hull KR squad. Just the one change for them this week, as Corbin Sims drops out and he is replaced by Sam Wood, who returns following a knee injury sustained against the Leeds Rhinos in late April. The very assuredly, if that's a word, building up a half-decent squad, aren't they? And you can see how much they've strengthened over the last few years, and then obviously in that last playoff spot at the moment. And they're looking pretty good value for it.
Yeah, I mean, as Dean Hardley's dad would say, that's so true. Are we going to edit that one out? But they are building. That's shocking, isn't it?
Gold.
Thank you, very good. I like that one. Thanks for joining in. We're going to leave it there. That's bad enough.
Or is it yellow, that kit?
That's Coldplay you're thinking of. How did we get in this line? Yeah, I mean, you're like,
you know what, Peter? Anybody would think we've rehearsed this, and genuinely we haven't. I like the fact that they're trolling you with the Hull trains, by the way.
I know. I'll get on to that later as well, but that's another matter. But they are building a very, very good squad. I mean, you look there as well. Obviously, Saints fan know very well. I mentioned Ryan Hall, but Sean Kenny-Dills had a very good season for them as well. Matt Parcell is always a threat. He's always a threat at dummy half. He's caused us problems when he played for Leeds as well. And say throughout that squad, there's some good seasoned Super League players. Not a lot of like superstars, but guys that are just good, honest, solid citizens that will do a right good job. Obviously, Mikey Lewis as well. He's got a little bit of stardust about him. I like watching him, but hopefully we'll have our eyes on him on Sunday. And of course, another former Saint and Greg Richards returning on Sunday as well. It's nice to see him back in Super League. I think he was kind of harshly treated, and he went down to levels that were below his level of ability. So I'm glad to see him getting some game time back in the Super League where I think he belongs.
Obviously, Lachlan Coote will make his return on Sunday, guaranteed to be serenaded by the West Stand with his song before being roundly booed on his first carry.
But how will they know the difference? That's the great thing about his name. There's no way of him knowing. You know, we could all boo from the West Stand, and he'll give a round of applause thinking he's getting his name chanted. So that's nice. But now listen, everybody wishes him well. There's some players that come into the club and they leave, and you think haven't really made much of a contribution. But I mean, Loughlin is not in that category. You know, 3 Super League titles on the bounce. So many great tries, so many great try assists, as his song obviously mentioned. And his goal kicking got better and better as well. He was a player I don't think many of us would have minded if we kept him for another year. But I think for him, it's probably a good move going to Hull KR rather than being a player that maybe dropped in and out with Saints, or perhaps Jack Welsby's or Lewis Dodd's development was kind of stinted because of him still being there. We could have been romantic, said, "Oh, we want to keep him," but times change, squads change, and you need to let the young guys come through. But it'll be great for him to come back, and I'm sure he'll get a lovely reception. There's no doubt about it. Unless, of course, he scores a last minute try to beat us, and then it'll all change.
Absolutely. Obviously, you're quite right. You get some players who are revered, and Lachlan Coote will always be welcome back at St Helens. And it's just unfortunate that literally we had a world-class youngster coming through who we needed to get into the team.
Yeah.
But listen, Lachlan's done well for himself. He's got himself a really good deal at Hull KR. Mm-hmm. They're glad to have him. So I think we still wish him all the best. And we look forward to him taking the field against us on Sunday. Mm. Now, we must get on to the big one. It's a phenomenal achievement. And we expect, obviously, a packed stadium. And hopefully we will see it happen on Sunday. Tommy Makinson, 3 tries to make it 150 in his Super League career.
Yes, that would be one of the things we're looking forward to on Sunday as well, absolutely. As well as your nice sunny day, Tommy Mac hat-trick. And I think there might be one of the young lads, having a landmark appearance, possibly.
There is. And do you know what? He keeps sneaking on the field every single week. Sneaks on.
What can you say?
Himself, I can say that picture was taken at the back end of his career and not at the start, because he's aged dramatically since.
He's grown right through his hair. He's a growing lad.
545 appearances, I think. Is it 545? It's that many, you lose count.
Yeah.
But what an absolute phenomenal achievement. Is it a record piece that's never going to be broken?
I would be amazed if it was broken. Potentially, you look at someone like Jack Welsby, Lewis Dodd, if they stay in Super League for all their careers, you might think, well, they might get close to it. Because you tend to think that backs are more likely to play more regularly because forwards have to be rotated.
But with the reduction in games now, Peter,
yeah,
it's going to be hard for a player to make that target. Even based on a 28-game-a-year season, a player is going to have to play every game for 16 and a half years.
Yeah, and that's even for a normal human being and not a superhuman like James Roby. I can't imagine any Saints fan thought when Kieran Cunningham retired. We all knew by that stage Robes was the real deal, and he was a brilliant player. But there's no way any of us thought that he would last this long, and that there would be a serious question raised as to who is better, Cunningham or Roby. And that, I think, is the biggest testimony to James Roby. The fact that he's still going at this age. He's still quite a few weeks of the season playing 80 minutes. He doesn't seem to be kind of given weeks off very often, and his performance levels haven't dipped. You don't even see him taking a backward step. He's not coming out and just doing 30 minutes and then sitting on the bench. He's not doing it. He's not having other players do some of his work. He's still hitting 50 tackles a week. He's still putting kicks in. He's still scoring tries. He's still leading from the front. It's phenomenal. There's no other word for it. He is a freak of nature, and I cannot think that we will see anyone, particularly a forward, having such longevity in a career and maintaining a level of excellence right into, his rugby league dotage.
And the thing is, he's not just going to beat the record, he's potentially going to smash the record. Obviously, He'll take it, the Super League record this week. There's another 15 games to play, potentially, roughly, in 2022, which should put him way ahead. And I don't think there's anybody even in the top 10 who are still playing. Now, the question is, will he go round again? Now, there was talk about Brad Dwyer potentially coming to the club in 2023. That talk seems to have died off a little bit. Now, James, he's playing every week. He's fit and healthy. Is that Kel Coslet's all-time Saints record of 531 appearances in doubt? After this weekend, James will only be 23 behind that. Potentially by the end of the year, 8-9 appearances behind. Surely that is an incentive to go round again, especially when he's playing so well.
Yeah, I think so. Because sometimes you think, you want a player to keep going forever, but you don't want them to end their career with people saying, he went on a year too long, because the last year of his career, he wasn't very good. But there's been nothing that I've seen this year from James Roby that suggests that that's even an issue. I think it's going to be down to how Robes feels, I suppose mentally and physically, whether he wants to do another pre-season, whether he wants to put his body through it, and whatever decision he makes will be the right one, and I'll fully support him. If he wants to ground another year, he's got the right to say to Saints, give me another contract. If he wants to say, well, especially if we win the Super League title again, he might think, I'm not going to top this. I want to go out on the top, and he would have the right to wait to the end of the season to make that decision, as far as I'm concerned as well. I think we'd all love to see him go round again, but only if he felt within himself that it was the right thing to do and that he was going to do himself and the jersey justice.
I think the biggest testament we could say is that our team in 2023 would be better for having James Roby in the squad.
Yeah, I mean, I would certainly think so. I mean, which players we're going to be able to retain, which players we'll bring in, dare say even who the coach is going to be, would be dependent on that, and perhaps that might be behind Robe's thinking as well. Perhaps if something is known from within, whether Christian's staying or whether he's going back to Australia, I hope he stays. I'd love to see him stay again, but time will tell on that one. But yeah, I'd love to see Robe stay. That's my thought would be, let's have another year and have him as Saints all-time records appearance holder. I'd love to see that. But it's down to him, and whatever he wants to do is the right decision.
Absolutely. So, Peter, let's talk trains. You like Francis? You like Francis Bourgeois? We're gonna have to put a camera on your head. Do you even know who Francis Bourgeois is?
No, I just nodded along, kidding on. I knew what you were talking about there.
Google him after this. You'll enjoy his videos.
Okay. Well, never mind this Sunday.
I'll find him while we talk.
Okay. The issue we have, of course, is the RMT strikes. As you know, Saints are playing Leeds on Thursday the 23rd. There's a strike on the 23rd. My good friend Nick Thorburn and I are booked on the train to come down for the Leeds game on the 23rd. We've bought our tickets, and we've got the overnight bus back up from Manchester. So now, obviously, we're kind of a little bit nervous as to whether the strike might be, put off, or what the situation is regarding what they're doing with the trains on the day. So I fully support people's right to strike. By the way, this hasn't changed my views. I'm just disappointed they're doing it that particular day, as you can imagine.
Yeah, listen, the whole point of a strike is to disrupt people.
Yeah, and
otherwise, if it doesn't disrupt anyone else, then there's no point striking because it doesn't have an effect.
That's very, very true. But obviously myself and Nick are taking it very, very personally, as you can imagine. No, not in all seriousness. It's just one of those things. I hope it gets sorted for everyone's benefit, particularly mine, obviously, since I'm desperate to get down to.
Have you ever thought about joining the negotiations and try and get them the pay that they deserve?
I mean, if I thought it would help, I would certainly do that. But unfortunately, I don't think whatever they'll be holding the negotiations, I probably need to get a train down to, which kind of defeats the purpose. But I just hope everything gets sorted and I can be on the Western Terrace for the Leeds game. Because we had it planned. We're down in time for the women's game at 5:30 as well. A wee cheeky double header. We're all sorted. We're ready to go.
It's spoiling it for you, Peter.
It certainly is. These trains are stopping me getting down to watch Saints, and that's when I get interested in politics. When I can't get to see the boys in the Red V, like this Sunday, and then obviously the Leeds one's in doubt as well for us. But I'll just need to wait and see. Hopefully everything will get sorted, and we can get down and catch up with yourselves and all the other good people down in St Helens before, during, and after the game. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think I've seen that face before. I think I've seen him used on some other kind of like memes and various things.
So Peter, if I don't see you on the platform of St Helens Junction going as the train flies past.
If it's a train I'm meant to get, you'll not see me doing that. You'll see me making another gesture. Let me tell you. Not one we can do on here. It's a family audience.
Well, by the time we get to the end of this video, it's usually post-Watershed. So, right, predictions for Sunday then?
You won't be surprised to hear I'm going for a Saints win. I haven't had a margin in my head, but I'm thinking about one now, and I'm going to say Saints by 20, but most of that, I think the last maybe couple of tries might happen in the last 15 minutes. I think we'll have to work for it.
He's not here, so I'll go Saints by 14.
In tribute to our missing Kev this evening, yeah.
Absolutely.
Either of those will be acceptable. Either of those results will be more than acceptable, I think, on Sunday.
But yes, hopefully it's enjoyable fare. If you're watching this video and you've enjoyed watching James Roby over the last 20 years, this is the game to come and show your appreciation. Bring the kids, bring the family.
Yes.
Enjoy the sunshine, and let's hopefully enjoy a Saints win. Peter, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks very much, Dave.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And hopefully we'll transfer Kev back from the Red Robin podcast, and he'll join us for the instant fan reaction on Sunday afternoon. Take it easy.